This cover reminds me of those old Where's Waldo books. And where the hell's he been lately? Because I haven't seen him around in a while. But if I had to guess, I'd say he ran off with Carmen Sandiego. Maybe she has some nice goodies underneath that trench coat. What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're an indie artist looking for an album review and some promo, you can hit up Luke at redmattersite.com. And what I have for you boys and girls today is a review for Royce da 5'9's album, Layers. Now, I just recently reviewed his Trust the Shooter EP, which was very well received, but as expected, this one is even better, at least in my opinion, because the content is better, and the production is also better on this one as well. It's just more focused overall, and that really makes sense because an EP basically just leads up to an album, so you gotta expect the album to be better than the EP, because if it wasn't, it probably wouldn't be a very good thing. Now, the intro track on this, Tabernacle, is one of my favorite tracks of the year so far, and I already reviewed that as well, so I'll post a review to that and to the Trust the Shooter EP at the top of the comments section so you guys can see what I had to say about all of that right there. But the song that follows up Tabernacle is called Pray, and it does not miss a beat. On this one, Royce suggests that you pray for the people who need it instead of him. He's talking about people who have been victims of police brutality, terrorist attacks, and more. And I like that one part when he says that you gotta make sure that you take care of your kids when you got a lot of money, because some people make all this money and then they don't. But you gotta put the kids first, man, even if you wanna just choke those damn toys of theirs that don't shut up. Swear to God, man, this is just a loud-ass toy. We're gonna get rid of that right now. But I gotta say, Royce is known to be a dope lyricist. Like, that is nothing new at all. And you can hear that on a lot of songs on here, like on the song Off. And one of the main gripes with Royce is that sometimes he comes through with bars just for the sake of bars, and he's not saying a whole lot. But I think he did a better job of bringing content on this album. I mean, the song Tabernacle, which I briefly touched on, tells a great story. I just talked about Pray. And then there's the song America, where he looks at the little gap that is between the rich and the poor. Or I shouldn't say little gap, because there's actually quite a big gap there. So I really think it's great that Royce is giving us these tracks, because that is exactly what I've been wanting to hear from him. And we even get a little bit of storytelling on this album. It all starts with the Lincoln skit, where we get introduced to this shady, pimpish character named Lincoln, and over the next couple of tracks, Royce is telling a story about relationships, people coming and going. There's a lot of shit going on there. Once you listen through, you'll hear it for yourself. But I like what he was doing there. It did seem a little bit out of the blue, but I think it worked nicely, and I liked some of these tracks, especially Dope, because we get this nice vocal sample production, and I think that vocal sample is the same one from MF Doom's song One Beer. I'm not exactly sure on that, but it does sound very familiar. And I also like the song Flesh, which is in that little segment, because it comes through with this pimptastic production, and it's just the type of shit you can really lean back to and vibe with. Some of that late night driving type of shit. But as with any album, man, it ain't all good on here. The song Quiet has this awful production from Mr. Porter. It just sounds like Eminem when he first started producing because of the cheap drums and the cheap synth effects. And there's also a lazy auto-tune hook from Mr. Porter on there, so I wasn't a fan of that one. But I do gotta say, he came through with some fire on here, so I'm not hating on him altogether. On the song Starter Coat, he came through with this pulsating, frantic vibe as Royce gets a billboard for not including Tupac on their top 10 rappers list. Which I agree, because Pac has got to be on that list, man. He's influenced all kinds of people, but that's a whole other discussion. And he also produced the song Layers, where we get this wavy, lavish vibe that sounds like something that would be on a Rick Ross album. Kind of like that song Amsterdam, that type of feel. And that's fitting, because Rick Ross is actually featured on this song, and so is Pusha T. And even though Pusha T and Royce come through with better verses than Rick Ross, as expected, Rick Ross still hangs, man. He's in his element on this production. I think he sounded dope on here, so he didn't ruin the track. But to wrap up, I just gotta say this is a great album, man. I give this one a 4 out of 5. I like that he brought more content, the production is better, the lyricism is still there, and there weren't too many songs on here that I didn't like. I mentioned Quiet, which was one of my least favorites, and another one of my least favorites would have to be the song Hard. I just don't even know what that one was supposed to be. He's working all these spoken word flows, some weird flows, some sing-songy shit. It's just all crammed together, and it drags on for 6 minutes. So that was one of my least favorite tracks, and Shine was another one, because that one wasn't trash by any means, but that dragged on a lot too. It was like 5 minutes long, there is nothing fancy with the beat, but Royce's lyricism is still on point, as it usually is. But that's just what I thought about this one. You guys hit me up in the comment section and let me know what you think about it, man. I want to know. And make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff too, where you like my videos, you share them, you follow me on Twitter, you retweet the videos, and you especially subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.